these experts, Bill, talk about this missing flight, the fact that the transponder went from on to off. First, just for all of us not in the aviation industry, what exactly does a transponder do?
A transponder sends information down to the radar at air traffic control. It's what's referred to as secondary radar.
Secondary radar.
In other words, the radar signal interrogates the aircraft, and the aircraft sends back information. It's discrete code and can carry other information as well, altitude, airspeed, heading, and things like that, depending on which mode they're talking about.
So then try to explain to me why the transponder might have gone off.
It could have been turned off, or it could have failed, possibly from the same event that caused other communication items to fail. It's hard to say. It's an electronic component, so it's subject to electrical or other failures, just like any other electrical component.
Hey everybody, House of Logic 1969, how's it going? I wanted to clear up the mystery of the transponder. That seems to be a really hot topic whenever an airliner crashes or goes missing. Media's talking about it, everybody's talking about it. I want to kind of clear up, what it is, what it isn't. Now, I used to fly these in the early 90s, about 91 to 94-ish, out of suburbia Los Angeles. And they have transponders too, mode C, just like a jetliner. It's not uncommon. After the PSA 182 crash in 78 in San Diego, and after the 1986 crash in Cerritos, the small plane in Aeromexico airliner, they increased the mode C for the small planes. They made it required in certain airspaces and stuff. It's rather lengthy where it is and isn't, but it doesn't matter. It's common. Any plane will have one. So this is more my speed here on the gauge package, and it's just like you might have in your car. Similar anyway. You have your airspeed indicator, and you might have a heading indicator or a compass somewhere. Not an altitude indicator, of course, but same thing. You have got your airspeed indicator, your altitude indicator, and your heading indicator. This works a little different, but there's a compass in the airplane that you use to calibrate it. So, but we're not really concerned about, for the purpose of a transponder, what the pilot can see. We're concerned about what this guy can see, because that's what a transponder does. It relays certain pieces of information in real time to the air traffic controller. See, he's got all these blips on the screen with all these numbers, and those numbers are what the transponder does. I'm going to show you later. I'm going to show you why that is, but right now I'm just telling you how it works, or what it does actually. So here we have on the left an example of a blow up of what he's seeing. Now you've got two types of radar, okay? You have your primary radar and your secondary radar, like the pilot was mentioning on the CNN clip. Your primary radar is going to give you a blip on the screen, and with a trail too. So you can, every time that radar antenna runs around in a circle, remember in the old ones you would see the the circle, the armature going around and around. Well, you're going to see this guy, and he's just going to move every time the armature goes around. The transponder gives you all the extra information, like altitude, which only mode C does that, speed, and other information like the tail numbers. This is the tail number of the aircraft for this photograph. So let's take a look. Let's take a look at the air traffic control. This is going to be Seattle approach control, and it's just a 1-minute clip just to show you how the numbers would come in handy, you know, the numbers that come from the transponder. Let's take a look.
Alaska 467, turn right heading 040.
040, the heavies on satellite 467.
Alaska.
Oh, and as any student pilot will tell you, they get paid by the word. We can't prove it, but we're sure of it.
467, just verify you're looking at the right one. He's passing over Husky Stadium now.
Affirmative, there's another one approaching Quest Field.
Alaska 467, turn right heading 080. Maintain visual separation from the heavy MD-10. He's for the left runway, caution wake turbulence. Join the final at 3,200 or above. Cleared visual approach, 16 center.
Clear the visual, 16 center, 3,200 or above with the traffic in satellite, the 467.
Okay, so it's pretty easy to see why an air traffic controller would want to have that kind of information. You know, but we're not really talking about real time here. You know, we're talking in the context of data recovery. You know, after an airplane has crashed or gone missing, what kind of data can we get? The airplane has the black box, which is usually orange, and there's two of them. One records voice. It's called a CVR, cockpit voice recorder, and one records data, which is called an FDR, flight data recorder. So we want to make sure, you know, that we have information after a crash. And you know, when I was watching the news after MH-370, I was getting every day new high-tech stuff, high-tech this, high-tech that, satellite this, military that. I'm like, well, what about ground info, like recording that recording that with the audio. You know, and by the way, that's a transponder, just a little cheap transponder. And yes, they all have an off switch. Okay, over here on Wiki, air traffic control radar beacon system, it talks about the transponder and the radar system. Real nice, actually. You have two types. The system consists of transponders installed in the aircraft and secondary surveillance radar systems. That's SSR. That's what the pilot in the CNN clip was talking about. Installed at air traffic control facilities. The SSR is sometimes co-located with the primary surveillance radar, the PSR. These two radar systems work in conjunction to produce a synchronized surveillance picture. Now, they work in conjunction, okay? They're not codependent on each other. If somebody turns off their transponder for this antenna, it doesn't mean this antenna is useless. Okay, radar was working many years before this ever came into the picture. Okay, it was. Just when they try to hit you with that, ask them, well, how did radar work in the 1930s? You know, before they had transponders. It's not like your blip on the screen just goes away. And here's about the blip too. An ATC ground station consists of two radar systems, and they're associated support components. The most prominent component is the PSR, primary P. It is also referred to as skin paint radar because it shows not synthetic or alphanumeric target symbols, but bright or colored blips or areas on the radar screen produced by the RF energy. Okay, goes on. I don't want to get too technical. It's not necessary. By the way, speaking of technical, there's a book called, it's put out by the Federal Aviation Administration every year. It's called FAR AIM. It's two books in one. FAR means Federal Aviation Regulation, and AIM means Airman Information Manual. I'm not using it here because it's kind of, it doesn't make for nice reading, especially the FAR. But if you want to do videos on aviation, you know, and you're not really sure about things, that's a really good book to have. It's only about $15 to download, and it does categorize things, so you can look them up and kind of find out when they're not on the up and up about things. Okay, what I did here is I just made a radar screen. I got a little pretend airplane there. So as this radar antennas go around, you know, the armature is going to go around, and we're going to see the blip move. Now, the reason I'm doing this is to demonstrate, I hit pause, to demonstrate what would happen without a transponder. Okay, we're going to be missing the numbers as, you know, just a blip on the screen. And how, after the fact of a crash or a missing aircraft, how would we find out things like heading and airspeed? We can't find altitude other than to know if they're flying below the radar or above the radar, which is not really possible in a jet, or if, you know, what the situation is. So here he's going to be moving, and after the fact you can just put a ruler on it, because you know they record this, the audio as well as the screen. I mean, they wouldn't have the black boxes in the aircraft, then nothing down here at the air traffic control center, right? So you just record it, and there's a little top right, little demo of radar pinging against the aircraft, and then returning the blip or the numbers if you got a transponder. So here we could see he turned, and now we could see a speed change. Okay, it's just a bunch of straight lines in between radar sweeps is all it is. No matter how much he curves, it's nothing but a bunch of straight lines each radar cycle, or pulse radar they call it. Okay, hopefully that clears up some of the mystery. Thanks for watching, guys, and much love.